So in this video we'll be covering where Xur is, but we're also going to be talking about this page here, the Next Week in Destiny page. As you can see, Into the Light launches on April 9th. Now this brings a whole host of content, and that was covered in all of the Bungie live streams over the past couple of weeks. But the main things are Onslaught and farming those for the new guns, and also Whisper of the Worm, which we'll get to in just a second. The GM is Birthplace of the Vile this week, making it a really easy farm in case you need the Nightfall weapon. I don't really care about the Crucible. Grasp of Avarice is the dungeon rotator, which means if you need Artifice Armor, that is the easiest farm to get high stat armor in the game. I will make a video on that and cover it when the week comes out. The bonus to Gambit ranks doesn't even matter, but the mission is Whisper of the Worm and Presage. So that shows that they're now doing 2 exotic rotators instead of 1, which is finally, thank you. So hopefully we'll stay with that 2 mission status, and hopefully that will apply to dungeons in the future as well, because there's too many dungeons in the game right now. But if you haven't done the Whisper of the Worm mission before, be excited, because that mission is great, and I'm sure you'll enjoy it. Moving on, we're going to go on to the Hunter, and Xur is on Nessus. So you're just going to land over here in the Watcher's Grave, and launch in. So, Grasp of Avarice, when you're armor farming on your Ghost, you need to make sure you have a stat booster on for the bottom 3 stats. So that is Strength, Intellect, and Discipline. As armor spiking works, I'll explain this in my next video as well. But if you have a bottom stat booster, it will make sure you get a spike in the bottom 3 and the top 3. We're just gonna put on, that is not a movement tech loader, there we go. So, sparrowing over to Xur, he's just on this tree. Now he hasn't really got that great of armor, but there are a couple of things you should still do at Xur this weekend. Make sure you do your exotic cipher quest, make sure you do Xenology. I did my Xenology from last week and just forgot to turn it in. Make sure you claim your exotic engram to get some new loot. As you see, I got 6th Coyote. Now there's a couple of weapons here that you should be interested in getting. But first, looking at the top armor pieces, Darcy's bad. Knuckleheads is okay, but the stats are kinda mid, but pick it up if you don't have it. Skullfort is pretty bad, and Crown of Tempest isn't that great either. In terms of weapons, False is pretty bad, Brass Attacks isn't great, Extraordinary Rendition isn't great, Sojourner's Tale is great. It's the only solar slug in the game, and it has a damage perk on it called Frenzy, which gives it a 15% buff. The last time this came in, it had Adrenaline Junkie, which is just worse. So I'd recommend picking up Sojourner's Tale if you don't have it already, as it has Assault Mag and Frenzy and Fluted or Arrowhead, so it has a high handling stat. So this is really good for slugs, so hitting crits, so double slug rotations and Last Wish is still very good. Or if you need a solar shotgun to just be in your damage rotation, you need like a one-off really high damage weapon, this is pretty good to have. Moving on to Ignition Code, it has Disorientating, Field Prep, and Demolitionist. This is a pretty good role. However, Disorientating grenades are getting nerfed, where their blast radius is smaller now. But it's still pretty good. It does have Field Prep, so it has the maximum amount of ammo. And Demo, it gives you a grenade back if you get kills. Now, with a Blinding Grenade, or Disorientating Grenade, they do mean the same thing. You're probably not going to be getting kills with them. However, if you can blind things and then get the kill afterwards to re-blind those surrounding enemies, and it might be worth getting more kills with blinding grenades now as they got nerfed. Oh, they're getting nerfed with Into the Light, where they have a smaller blast radius. So you might have to be shooting more. It also has a reload speed masterwork, which doesn't really matter where if you can just crouch with field prep and make your reload speed faster. Of course, on these 2 weapons, you want to put on either boss spec or minor spec, or something that matches doing more damage. Taken spec's pretty good as well. Moving on to the other weapons, Honor's Edge is pretty bad, but it does have Surrounded, so if you need an adaptive frame sword with Surrounded, this might be an interesting pick. I'd pick this up only if you don't have Bequest from Deepstone Crypt, but this is definitely an interesting sword. It looks like it's just a worse Bequest, so if you don't have Bequest, just pick this up. I'm sure this will fill that slot for you. Again, just make sure you put on a boss damage thing, masterwork it, and you want Tempered Edge over Enduring Blades. Moving on, we have Temptation's Hooks, and it's a caster frame, so immediately just say no, it's not worth it. Looking at the Hunter armor, the chest piece isn't terrible. It's got some good resilience, it's got some good strength. The helmet is also resilience and strength, and the legs are recovery and intellect. So the legs are pretty good if you don't have any PvP armor and you need to get some recov and intellect stats boosted. The helmet's pretty good if you want to run a permanent Void Invis build with Omnioculus. The strength helps you get your nade back if you don't smoke bomb two of your teammates. Moving on to the final page, Hawkmoon's got moving target, pick it up if you don't have it already. And that is for this week. Thank you for watching.